My name is asutlief, and this is my Advanced Art and Design Studio project. Today I will be showing you a branding project I did for River Country Event Center, RCEC, which includes a logo design, branding guidelines book, business cards, poster, magazine advertisements, and a bridal box. First, let me tell you what RCEC is. They are an event center located between New London and Spicer, Minnesota. They host events including weddings, graduation parties, anniversaries, concerts, dinner parties, and anything you can think of. Their property includes a covered bridge, a large flower garden, a rustic decorated reception hall, and a bridal building if you're having your wedding there. So to start my project, I met with the owners and tried to come up with different words that they would use to describe their event center. Rustic, peaceful, and magical all came to mind. My next process was to sketch and research. I researched different event center logos and tried to find what made them work, such as buildings in their logos, that kind of identifying piece, script fonts if they're trying to feel more classic and upscale, and when there was a river, it had wavy lines, kind of showing the flowing and movement. In my sketching, I played with where I would put the text, what the bridge would look like. Do I want it a detailed bridge? Do I want it just a graphic? And all these other little things. I tried a border. The border didn't look quite right, but just kind of played around with all sorts of different ideas. And then in my first rounds of logos, I made the bridge graphic, which is the identifying part of the event center. They're the only people that have a covered bridge as a part of their property. So I have a picture of that with the river flowing beneath it, and then just text kind of just thrown in there, trying to see if I wanted it to be just one font or two fonts. In the second round, I had fixed my bridge graphic a little bit on that bottom one, and it has less delicate lines in the posts so that it can be printed smaller. And then I found this font, Crinks Decor, for River Country that really kind of flows and kind of has a peaceful and rustic feel to it. Next, I revised the river, making it curl kind of like the letters in River Country do, which brings me to my final logo. I use a modified Crinks Decor Modern Sans Light to bring that thick and thin balance between the fonts. For colors, I use two different Pantones, a maroon color, which is very important to the owners as it is the color of the bridge itself, and it's just the one thing that they requested was to have maroon. And then the gray I have pairs well with that maroon. It's used in the river, and I didn't want to have another bright color in there, such as blue for a river, which most people would go to, which you can see in my earlier revisions I had, but I didn't want to use the blue because it was too bright and there's too many colors and it just didn't work. But I didn't want to have the river be black because a black river isn't very inviting. But whereas if it was gray, it'd be softer. It can kind of have a more, it would tie in better. The gray I have has less of a blue hint and more of a greenish hint to it, just because it kind of matches the wood pattern that I use in most of my applications, even this presentation. But the green ties in with the gray ties in with the wood, and it complements the red, since red and green are complementary colors. They go well together. And so that's kind of the reasoning as to why it looks like that. As I said before, I have Crink's Decor, which is the font for River Country, with the curls, and the Modern Sans Light is the event center. And then I use Arial as a secondary font for applications. The next step of my project was to create a trade book. This book would be given to the owners or anyone making any materials such as posters, different advertisements. Maybe once they start making a website and getting more established, they can use the information I gave them in the book. So this is what the front, back, and spine of the book look like. They have that barnwood kind of wrapped all around it, giving it the rustic feel with the white stamped logo on there. The front having the full logo, the back having the graphic only. And then I use the maroon band on the spine to break that apart a little bit. Now I'm going to show you each page that I have in here and just kind of go over all the different things that I went through. In my table of contents, I include the wood across the top with the white text, and then I also have a picture of the event center itself edited to have a kind of a magical feel. So far now I have the rustic and the magical elements, but I was needing peaceful. So to show the text for the table of contents, I have a white kind of transparent box, kind of resembles like linen sheets hanging out on a line that you can kind of see the sky through, or the trees when the sun is shining through it. Really a peaceful feeling. And so I feel like this page really represents all of that all together. And if you caught it, there's a secret little pun in there because I have a picture of tables and it's the table of contents. I like to have fun with my designs, so that was really fun. Didn't figure it out until after I made it, but it was fun nonetheless. My mission statement page, it has the same style and layout as my table of contents does. I wrote the mission statement myself, as when I asked Ken and Kay if they had one, they told me that nope, they don't, but when I asked them why, they made their event center, just trying to get more of a feel for what I could use as a mission statement. And they said that they felt blessed to have such a beautiful place, and they wanted to share that blessing with others and just really help bring joy to their special event. So I created a mission statement for them, using the picture of the bridge as the main image because that's what they really felt blessed about. The next page after that is the symbol description and restriction zones. I wanted these to be the first pages that you see because you can see the logo as a whole, and it kind of describes what the logo is. And then the restriction zone doesn't tear it apart too much. But those show the logo for all that it is before it gets torn apart in the next couple pages. In colors and typography, I just tell where to use the colors or the fonts. Like these are the same colors and fonts that I had mentioned earlier in this presentation. For variations in sizing, I show the different variations, obviously, and sizing for each variation. There are two different styles of logo. I have the full logo, and then the one with just the graphic. And each of them have 5 different color options. The 2 color with the maroon and gray by itself, maroon by itself, black, and white. The most often used logo tends to be the white, as I use it on the barnwood. quite often, or maroon, but the two-colored logo with the maroon and gray are to be used the most, but they can only be on white surfaces, otherwise you start losing details. So it's kind of a balance between the white logo and the two-colored logo. For background control and incorrect usage, I just kind of explained the basic rules. So don't flip the logo, don't rearrange or remove parts of it, things like that. Make sure that you can always see your logo on the background that it is on. But if you're using a patterned background, which has to be a very simple background, it has to only have a one color variation, and there's 4 different ones, so you can always find one that works. My application page splits the book right down the middle. My book is 24 pages, and this is right at 13 and 14. I use a picture of the garden that is on the property in the background, edited with that magical feeling. All right, next I will get into the applications that I created. This is Ken & K's magazine advertisement that they had when I first met with them. It has about 4 different fonts on it. It has a few different pictures. The 2 pictures that they have of the event center show what the buildings that they have pretty well, and kind of their reception hall, but they don't really show the feeling that you should have when you're at this event center. The plastic chairs, the far away view of the bridge itself, and then the cement floor in the picture of the reception hall. They don't really tie everything together. And then the picture that they have behind it is a picture of a lake. There isn't a lake at their property, so I didn't feel like that fit them very well. But I did like the red band that they had across the bottom with their contact information. I felt that really kind of helped. So in my magazine advertisements, I used that red band, only with my color. For this, I have a full page ad, which is what they had. I use a picture of the reception hall, large, as it is a very pretty picture, for lack of better words. I have the logo right there on top, so you know what you're looking at, you know who to contact, with their address and phone numbers at the bottom, and then a little call to action in that transparent white box to call Ken & K Johnson to book a date for your perfect wedding. And then the main information that you need. And then I also created a half page and quarter page ad just for when they don't feel like they need the full page, or they can only afford to have a quarter page ad at that time. Whatever their need may be, I have different options for each. This is the poster that they had, or the flyer that they were handing out when I first met with them. It also has 4 different fonts, has all the same information on it. It says wedding on the bridge, which is kind of the tagline, bringing the people in, and then it has their name at the bottom saying River Country Event Center, which I didn't feel is working very well. Most of everything else that is in this isn't working very well, but having the name at the bottom doesn't really bring people in. You have to, when I first looked at this, I thought Wedding on the Bridge was what they were called, and it didn't have the correct hierarchy. There's a lot of things wrong with this, but there were some things that were right. They had a lot of pictures, which is good, showing all the different features that they have at the event center. For my poster, I made one just a little bit bigger, the standard poster size, And I also included 5 different pictures, with the picture of the reception hall being my main focus again, just because that's when people book weddings, lots of times they're mostly looking for the reception hall. Some people get married in churches, and then they just need somewhere to hold their reception. So I feel that that's a very important part of an event center when they're using it for weddings. I have the logo right at the top, so you know who this is for. You know that this is for River Country Event Center. I have the call to action again with the contact information in the red band, and then I use more descriptive text to kind of explain who they are and what they have. The business card they had reflects what they had in their poster. It has all the same information, except it has less pictures, which is good. You don't want to have many pictures in your business card, but they also don't need to have the wedding on the bridge or the small text of everything that's included. For my business cards, I split it up, so there's one for Kay and there's one for Ken. And it's 2-sided so that it seems more high class. The back side brings in the rustic with the wood and then the white stamped logo, just carrying that brand all throughout every application. I use a picture with the white box again to kind of give that feeling of magical and peacefulness, and then the white band at the bottom to tie it in with all my posters and advertisements. Now, since the property didn't have a brand, they didn't have any signage on their property either. When you pull up in the driveway, all you see are thin yard signs used for garage sales. Very flimsy, not very weather resistant, and just not overall very upscale looking. So I thought that I would mock them up a few different sign options. Although plastic sandwich boards aren't super upscale, they're still a little bit more professional. And if you use weather resistant stickers, they can last through any storm, which I feel is very important. If your wedding starts raining, you can go into the reception hall, but your signs will point people in the right direction no matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever the weather. And since they don't have any signs, I also mocked up a sign that they could put right at the entrance of their property to welcome people in. I made it out of rough wood, which matches that my design style of rustic, peaceful, and magical. And this is actually a sign that Ken could even make himself, as he worked with wood for close to, I think, 30 years. Well, a very long time. I created 2 different sets of t-shirts. This first white option, which can also come in gray, maroon, or black. It has the logo on the front and then the word staff across the back. This would be worn by staff members who help with driving people down to the bridge on a golf cart, parking, or serving food, just so they can be easily identified amongst the crowd that these are people that can help you. They work here. And then I also created a t-shirt design for the owners themselves. It is slightly different than the staff shirts with the logo across the back, but then their name on the front chest, so that when they are seen in a crowd, they still stand out amongst the guests. But you can know that this is the owner, this is the main person that I can talk to. Other applications include promotional items such as canned koozies that can be given out at weddings, a flash drive that you can put any valuable information on, documents, and then a hat that people can purchase and wear around. Now the last part of my project that I want to tell you about is a branded box. This box was made to be given to the bride and groom at the events that gets married at the event center. Inside it includes 2 wine glasses laser etched with the logo on the front, and then across the back it'll say Mr. on one and Mrs. on the other. The box has that rough barnwood feel with the white stamped logo. Inside of the box, it's a little tilted. PDF didn't go quite right. But inside of the box, you can see the wine glasses are in a tray almost, holding them together so they don't clank around or break. And then on the side is a sticker with the logo and then a personalized message to the couple. And then these are just those wine glasses that I had mentioned. They have the logo on one side and then Mr. or Mrs. on the other. And overall, this was a fun project to do. The event center is my favorite place on earth, so being able to make it so professional and recognizable to other people was a great opportunity, and I'm glad to have had it. Thank you for listening and watching my presentation.